and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alana, and today's video is a video from my Mind on Yoga course. Now this video, we're diving into 5 tips to make meditation a little bit easier for you. But if you enjoy this video, I have a lot more informational videos about how yoga and meditation and breathwork affect your mind and mental health. So if you're interested, the link will be down in the description. Now, this video is geared towards beginners in meditation. However, I think even if you've been meditating for a few years now and you still find it difficult sometimes, you'll still benefit from watching this video. Now, tip number 1 is to do the research. Understand why you're meditating. If you're just sitting there in silence because someone told you it would make you feel better, but you don't actually understand how it's going to make you feel better, I feel like it demotivates you. And for me personally, reading all of the psychological research studies about what meditation does to the brain is what motivates me to meditate every day. So maybe I don't feel like it, but I know what it does to the brain and I want that. And so that motivates me to meditate. Now you might be asking, what does meditation do to the brain? And there's tons of psychological research studies out there that show different images of the brain showing the brain activity, and they compare people who don't meditate to people who do meditate and look at which regions of the brain have more activity. And what's really interesting is that they find more activity in the prefrontal cortex area of the brain, as well as the areas that are associated with your own self-awareness and body awareness, which makes sense if you think about meditation and yoga. Obviously, they would help with body and self-awareness. And what's interesting is they've also found that meditation elevates the activity in the region of the brain that's called the anterior cingulate cortex, or ACC. And what's also interesting is that the prefrontal cortex is right in front of the ACC, like they're right next to each other in the brain. And it makes sense that both of these areas of the brain are activated during meditation because both of these areas are associated with what's called executive control. And think of it like in a business, like the executive is the one on top. He's the one who's directing all of the actions of the business. He's making sure that everything's going to plan. He's evaluating what's going right, what's going wrong, and has that awareness of the business in order to then make changes for the better in the future. And so your own personal executive control is your ability to be self-aware and aware of your emotions and self-regulate your emotions. And instead of letting them overtake you, you just are aware of your emotions and also the ability to self-reflect. Humans are amazing in that our brain can perceive past, present, and future. That helps us in so many ways. In being able to reflect on our past, learn from it, and grow in the future and take action steps forward. And what I think is the most amazing about this is that meditation, where you're so focused on the present moment, then helps you in these areas of your life where you have to plan for the other moments. And so I think that's really beautiful, and just understanding the science behind meditation is what motivates me to do it every day. So, end of point 1, finally. Point number 2, forget about achieving a totally blank mind. Instead, I want you to focus on just detaching from any thoughts that arise. So, a lot of times when we think about meditation, we think of someone who's sitting there in silence, not moving, and they're perfectly still. And yes, that is a way to meditate. It's an amazing way to meditate. However, that is very difficult for our brains in our society. Like, we're constantly distracted by everything, and being able to slow down and just not think is near impossible at the beginning. And so instead, I think it's more helpful to focus on just becoming aware of your thoughts. And instead of letting your thoughts take over, just being aware of them and then letting them go. So an example that I love to use is in the Shavasana meditation in a yoga class at the end of the day. Maybe it's an evening class and I'm laying there, and during the meditation, my mind thinks, I wonder what's for dinner. But instead of sitting there and ruminating on that thought and being like, well, I could go to Taco Bell, or I could go to the grocery store and make something healthy, or I could go to this nicer restaurant, instead of planning, I just notice, I wonder what's for dinner. And then I let it go, because there's nothing I can do about dinner in this present moment while I'm meditating. Right now I'm meditating, so I just gotta let that go. But it's not bad that that thought came up. Like, I think a lot of times we can get stuck in this negative thought cycle of like, oh, I'm such a bad meditator because like I can't not think. And it's like, well, obviously you can't not think. We're always thinking. So it takes a lot of practice to get to that point in meditation where you're not thinking at all. And so it takes constant practice of observing your thoughts and letting them go in order to then be able to observe stillness in the mind. Tip number 3 is maybe sitting in stillness is super difficult for you. You can also start with an active meditation. So for me, that was hiking. Just getting out in nature, walking on the hiking trails alone. Most of the time I was alone with my thoughts. And so I kind of learned to cultivate that meditative state of just observing thoughts and letting them go and enjoying the present moment while hiking in nature. And sure, my body was moving, and sure, I was still thinking about things like, oh, was that a bear? But I wasn't focusing on those thoughts. If it wasn't a bear, I just keep walking and I don't continue thinking about it. You see what I mean? So it's like cultivating that meditative mind during active activities. So maybe for you, it's hiking or running or walking or dancing or singing, really anything, if you're able to just let go of your thoughts and focus on the now. I mentioned this in my 10 book recommendations for mental health. However, one book that I think explains this idea of cultivating the meditative mind throughout your day is the book Total Meditation by Deepak Chopra. And if you haven't heard of it, I highly recommend listening to it. That is really what helped me grow my meditation practice, is understanding that concept of constantly cultivating the meditative mind instead of having meditation be something you just do for like 10 minutes a day. Tip number 4 is if it's uncomfortable for you to just sit and try to observe your thoughts, maybe you need something to focus on. So maybe you do some type of guided meditation. There's tons of different guided meditations on YouTube, as well as like different breathwork practices, which I think can be good to start. Oh, also one of my favorites is the candle light meditation, where you focus on the flame of a candle. But when you have something to focus on, sometimes that makes it a little bit easier at the beginning of meditation. However, I wouldn't get attached to any like one certain guided meditation or one style of meditation. Like, I would really encourage you to try a bunch of different styles of guided meditation to really explore what's out there and see maybe what feels best on certain days. And that leads me to tip number 5, which is different meditations will be good for you on different days. So learning to cultivate that self-awareness of your body and of your mind and being able to evaluate what you need at a certain time, I think is like the next level of meditation. Instead of like the guided meditations, okay, maybe you've done all of the guided meditation, you understand some of the techniques, now you want to focus on tuning in with yourself every single day and just sitting down and being like, okay, what do I need? And just having that awareness to give yourself what you need on a daily basis. And of course that changes on a daily basis. So with that, I would like to end this video with a quick 2-minute meditation for beginners or anybody. This is just a quick example of how you can slow down your mind and your thoughts just by simply tuning into your breath and bringing the awareness back into your body. So if you can, I encourage you to find a comfortable seat, maybe cross-legged on the floor. The floor is not in frame for me, so I'll stay here. But just closing down the eyes if that feels comfortable, resting the hands comfortably in your lap. And just arriving into the present moment. Taking notice of your breathing. Is it shallow and short? Or is it long and deep? Begin to become aware of the temperature of your breath as it goes in and out over your upper lip through the nose. As you're here, beginning to deepen the breath, trying to make each inhale and exhale a little bit longer than the last one. letting go of the day behind you or the day ahead of you, and just simply being with your breath, noticing every inhale and exhale. Simply observing if thoughts arise in the mind and then letting them go. Not allowing your thoughts to control you, but regaining control over your mind. As you control your breath. I don't like that. Cut that out. There's nothing else you need to be doing, nowhere else you need to be, besides here in the present with your breath, allowing your mind these moments of stillness, and allowing yourself a chance to relax. And slowly draw your hands through heart center. And we'll take one final grounding breath in through the nose and out through the mouth together in 3, 2, 1. And slightly tuck your chin in towards the chest and blink your eyes back open, coming back to the space around you. Taking a moment before jumping back into your day to just notice how your mind feels, how your body feels after that quick meditation. I am so grateful for you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, be sure to show me your thumbs and subscribe down below, and let me know which tip was your favorite down in the comments. I hope to see you again in my next video. Bye guys!